May 22nd, there was a fire that at Kazutaka Miyatake's house, and his wife passed away in the fire, and luckily, he was discharged from the hospital. So we don't know how he is, but he was discharged from the hospital on May 29th, and this is like of course, a horrible news for everybody that's a Macross or a Mecha fan. So you wanted to say something about it, Chad?
I don't know. There's not that much information. I just read the article on ANN when it happened, and of course we posted about it on social media and whatnot, and a lot of an outpouring of empathy and and hopes for his recovery and hope that he gets through this and whatnot. Yeah, that's pretty much the extent of it. I mean, there's not much more to go on. I mean, one of the things about Miyatake is he's a guy whose work I really, really like and admire.
Well, why don't you like do some kind of introduction for people that don't know who he is? There's Macross fans that are just into Kawamori, Mikimoto, but they don't really know who Miyatake is.
So Kazutaka Miyatake is basically the fellow who's responsible for the majority of the mechanical design work in the original Macross, and he continued to be a part of Macross like as it went on as well. So like, Do You Remember Love, Flashback, Macross Plus, on and on, right? It goes on. He designed most of the enemy mecha, although there's some confusion over some of the stuff, but he designed the vast majority of it. The ships, he of course designed the SDF-1 Macross itself, both the original design and the Do You Remember Love version. And so and like I said, this continued into Macross Plus. One other thing that's actually kind of important about him too is that he, while Kawamori designs the variable fighters, the Valkyries, Miyatake actually designs the cockpits. He's done all of them, I think, since Do You Remember Love and onwards, except for the Delta stuff, which is done by a fella named Stanislav Brunet, I think is how you pronounce his name. He did most of the cockpits for the Valkyries in Macross Delta. So yeah, so Miyatake has been a huge part of Macross, including one of the most iconic parts of Macross, which is the SDF-1 itself. So that's who he is. And his mechanical designs are also, like, if most folks are familiar with the Zentradi and the different the different ships and vessels and the big mobile fortresses and all the rest of the stuff, it's very, very unique even among mecha anime, the entire genre. There's not a lot of stuff out there that looks anything remotely like what Miyatake does, and that's amazing, because the mecha genre is quite huge, and has been around for decades and decades and decades. So creating something distinct and different and very, very good is something that's really hard to do in a genre which is not want for mechanical design. So yeah, so that's who he is.
He also designed the Sigurd Valens in Macross Delta, the big ship, the protoculture ship that Royd resurrects.
Yeah. He's very, very good at designing things that are like very alien looking. He also has a flair for lots of smooth lines, lots of organic sort of shapes and whatnot. His mechanical design for the Zentradi are kind of amazing because he sort of like influenced like male and female gender into the designs of his mecha for the Zentradi, which is really kind of cool and unique, and is one of the reasons that those designs are still like really good looking to this day, because there's nothing quite like them.
Yeah.
So yeah, so especially for a mecha geek like me, he's he's a big part of the reason why Macross is something I love so much.
Yeah,
And he did a lot.
he designed one of my favorite mechs, non-Macross mechs for Gasuraki. He did the tactical armor mech.
Yeah,
which is like one of my favorite designs. Not one of my favorite anime, but his designs for that series is like exceptional. Yeah.
So, his stuff is amazing. He's also like incredibly, not only incredibly prolific, but he's very like he churns out a ton of work. Like, he was basically single-handedly responsible for almost all of the mechanical design in the original SDF Macross. That includes the Macross itself, all the Zentradi stuff, all of the background vehicles that you see in the show, like the human vehicles, the aircraft, the helicopters, the jeeps. It's crazy. Like, his stuff is, he did a ton of design work. It's kind of unbelievable. And one of the things that's also like amazing about him is that he did all this design work, and then he went out of his way in a lot of cases to exhaustively illustrate the designs that he did create. Like, one of the things that you'll note if you look at some place like like my site, plug in my site here, opportunity to plug
What site
my
is that?
The Macross Mecha Manual, also available on Twitter and Facebook.
Never
like and subscribe. Let me know.
Smash that like button.
Yo, what up, guys?
Whoa. We just took a little happy turn from your little eulogy, or not eulogy, but your.
I hope not.
We'll cut that part out.
What point being, if you look at the collection of art, like when he designed something, he didn't just draw like a few angles of it. He would regularly draw like exhaustive angles of everything, including detailed breakdowns of a lot of different detailed parts, or parts that are like significant for the animators. And then he would build schematic diagrams as well, doing front, back, profile, everything, sometimes even top. It is crazy the way that he like did all of this. It's nuts. Like, you look at comparable anime, especially for the time, something like Genesis Climber Mospeda, or Mobile Suit Gundam, or like any of the contemporaries of the 80s that were being done. Most of the artists would not draw as much art as somebody like Miyatake for the designs that they created. He went through an amazing, excruciating amount of detail for a lot of the designs he created, and it's amazing. There's just a wealth of art from him for a lot of the classic designs that we all love, which is a real treat.
If anybody has any update or anything like that, because I haven't heard anything about how he's doing. All I know is that he was released from the hospital, which is a good sign. But hopefully he gets through this. Because he's a treasure for us Macross fans and all Mecha fans.
Just Mecha fans in general. I mean, he's the guy behind Orgus as well, right? I mean, like, he's done lots of stuff, lots of work. What's
the book that he has? Like, it's kind of like the Kamori one.
He released a Design Works book a couple years ago.
Not, I think it was either after, like just after, or maybe even the same year.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's a couple years after. 2005. The Kawamori one came out in 2001.
Oh, really? Was that far?
The Miyatake one came out in 2005, so it's 4 years after.
Yeah, everybody should get that book. It's
fantastic. Yeah, I got it, and it's great, and it does, like, again, it covers all of his stuff from the original SDF Macross to Macross Plus, Macross 7, Macross, his stuff for VFX. He did a bunch of work on the video games as well. And then, of course, Super Dimension Century Orgus, like tons of his stuff. It's great. It's great. Yeah. And he came out with another one as well, which isn't as mecha centric. It's a more of a mix of his different art. But it's like called Mega Structures. Mega Structures, released in 2017, and I picked it up as well. And
You have that one?
Yeah, I have
Oh, I
it as
gotta look
well.
that up.
And if you like his stuff, like if you like his style and you like his, if you're someone like me who also not only likes Miyatake but likes a certain styles of science fiction art in general, almost I guess you could call them movements, art movements.
Mhm.
Miyazaki's stuff in that second book, in his Megastructures book, is kind of like enjoying that elements of those old like 1960s, 1970s movements of science fiction painting and art that came out. That stuff, if you really like that sort of stuff, that you had like I'm talking about the artwork that would come up for the covers of like famous science fiction books like 2001 or the Dune series or Isaac Asimov's science fiction novels or like any of the stuff that came out in like the 60s, 70s, all that kind of thing. Miyazaki is clearly inspired by some of that and also like just creates his own version of some of those styles, and it's a real treat if you like that sort of stuff. It's amazing. It's a good book if you like that stuff. I do, so it's a treasure. Yeah.
There you go.